The Prime Minister's shaken up his front team bench to start the new year with a high-profile casualty. Dr Shane Reti loses one of the government's big headaches, the health portfolio, but he'll stay in Cabinet with responsibilities for university statistics and science, innovation and technology. In health, he's replaced by Simeon Brown. That change shunting Brown's transport portfolio
we shall come back to
Chris Bishop. Gone as a minister entirely, Melissa Lee, losing both the economic development and ethnic communities portfolios. They'll be picked up by Mark Mitchell and Nicola Willis, with economic development getting a name change as...
Do you want to speak to that, Chewie? Mark Mitchell.
Yes, Mark Mitchell's most recent work experience of handling ethnic communities as a mercenary in Iraq doesn't really ring well. I guess he'll be setting up an observation post on the Beehive, the M249 machine gun.
Well, and there's a newcomer outside Cabinet, James Meagher. He's becoming the first ever Minister for the South Island.
I noticed on TVNZ tonight they were in the streets of Dunedin, and most of the people they showed were like, what are they doing this for? What's the point of this? It was either, what are they doing this for? What's the point of this? They're wasting money. Why don't they put it towards the hospital? Or the other thing was, just shows what they really think of us. They didn't quite say some no-hoper, but some basically, you know, the equivalent of the kitchen hand, the newest one of them, is now responsible for us that they've never thought about before. So the response didn't seem all that good from the people they found on Dunedin streets today.
I've sent him an email tonight, Pat. I haven't had a chance to tell you this. I've sent him an email. He's a first-term MP. His maiden speech is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But he is an unknown quantity. So here's my thing. Is he going to be the type of person that's hard charging straight out of the gates, wants to make a name for himself? Like, people already talk about this guy as a future national leader and national prime minister, right? It's breathless how they talk about this guy. But my question is to him that I posed in an email, and I also said, hey, look, if you want to answer this on BHN, please come. We're a South Island podcast. Come and talk to us. But there's two ways that I think that this can go. That he might really listen to what people in the South Island need. And we're looking at least two major generational things: the ferry issue and the Southern Hospital. Now, he is either going to be an advocate in Cabinet for these things, like you would hope that that's what they're doing, or uncharitably, I might say, that he has been in that position to manage the outrage, to make it look like the government is concerned and listening. I'm just having to the people of the South Island who are dyed-in-the-wool national supporters and don't care if Dunedin gets a hospital, that is just taking Nicola's comments about the ferries at face value, don't see the value in rail, that sort of thing. And he's just there to be the friendly, no baggage face for the carpet bag job that National are doing on the South Island at the moment. Who's going to be right?
I think as well, I was just looking for it, I can't find it. He made a comment on the news tonight. He was like 24 hours later, and he goes, well, what I want mainlanders to know, and I'm like, a nice way to make yourself feel and completely like an outsider, where's the South Island? You know, like the way he said it was like the people from the South as opposed to us. Like, we want, you imagine if someone, like any electorate, someone for North Shore of Auckland, North Shore Electric, someone's talking from Hamilton. Well, when I go and run the North Shore Electric, those North Shore people will be, you know, it felt completely inauthentic. Let's keep going.
I am being corrected in the chat as well, is that it's a portfolio outside of Cabinet.
It is outside of Cabinet, yeah.
So I think we have the answer there. If he's not in the Cabinet room, they don't give a fuck about what he brings to the table. Yep. Well, he can't even come to the table. He's standing outside.
Go on this. Christopher, can I come in?
People are really angry, Chris.
We'll keep going.
As well as Minister for Youth and Hunting and Fishing. Political editor Mikey Sherman has more.
As a former GP, having Shane Reti in the health portfolio should have been just what the doctor ordered.
This is a person who spent his Christmas holidays and summer actually doing vaccinations of people in the Pacific. So he is...
Got to say, Mikey Sherman, fucking awesome question coming up about him being demoted. And Luxon, guess what he does? He stammers and stutters and can't answer it. What does that mean, people? Do you remember from last year? That means he's lying.
A top quality human being, period.
But his quality as health minister hasn't been as sound, receiving the political diagnosis every minister dreads, demoted from his portfolio.
Tough conversation to have with a friend, but a good man and a total team man.
Was he disappointed?
I'm sure he was disappointed, and I appreciate it because they're difficult conversations, as you could imagine.
The health sector has significant challenges: funding, workforce and organisational structure after 5 years of reforms. But this health expert backed Reti.
Dr. Reti understood his portfolio, understood the
Don't know anything about this guy. Be interested to know more about him, because there's not too many doctors or people in the medical fraternity that I've heard that have been as gracious as this Dr. Brian Bessie. So I might do a bit more research on him.
complexity of the issues he was facing, and I think made some significant progress over the last 12 months.
What's led you to lose confidence in Shane Reti?
Well, I haven't. Shane Reti's going to do an outstanding job.
But you've demoted him from his portfolio and you've dropped him in rankings.
Yeah, well, just Shane Reti's done. Shane Reti's. I haven't lost confidence. Shane Reti's going to do a great job on universities and the science sector, and that's a very important job for us.
Christopher Luck.
You know, the other thing that happens, it's not just the stammering. He goes to like 200 words a minute as well, like the speed at which he starts speaking. Let's just look at that bit of gold one more time.
You to lose confidence in Shane Reti.
Well, I haven't. Shane Reti's going to do an outstanding job.
But you've demoted him from his portfolio and you've dropped him in rankings.
Yeah, well, just Shane Reti's done. Shane Reti's. I haven't lost confidence. Shane Reti's going to do a great job on universities and the science sector, and that's a very important job for us.
It's like he's buffering.
It's the wheel of death if you're an Apple person. Brr. The thing about that is, that's a great question. Like we give the media shtick when they deserve shtick, but that's a great question, because if someone was the best person in the cabinet to do that job, you'd be a fool to remove them. So there's only two possibilities here, Mr. Luxon. You have lost confidence and you've demoted him, or you haven't lost confidence and you're getting the best qualified person on that job now out of that job. They're really the only two possibilities, Chewie.
That's how you reward people if they do a good job. You take the job off them and you demote them. Everybody knows that. It's because we're not from business. We don't get it. We're just missing something key there.
So in business, they take the best person for the job, who you don't lose confidence in, and they put them in a completely different role. And can I say, and after you do that, thanks to this tweet here, after you do that, you bring in the 33-year-old, worked in a bank before entering Parliament at 25, only ministerial experience since November 2023, and you make that person the Minister for Health.
Oh, no. I mean, if it was just that, Pat, that would be egregious. Egregious. Let's look at what he did in university. He led a pro-life society.
Oh, yeah.
That was so aggressive, they deregistered him and kicked the society off the university grounds. So now we have someone that is so anti-healthcare for women in charge of the entire health sector. It is mental. And all of the guys that have gone, oh, look, Labor's stacked full of people with no real world experience. Yeah. And we can't have a woman who's only ever worked in a chip shop as the Prime Minister. Where are they? Where are they now talking about Simeon Brown, who has gone from a transport budget with tens of billions of dollars, where all he did was remove speed limits or up speed limits by 10k in some sections and wash his hands and go, that's it, I've unlocked the full productivity of the country. He was there for 6 months, or however much long it was, and now they're giving them the health budget, and all the language that's coming out of it is because he gets shit done quickly. Yeah, and so what's been done to the health system so far is, like, I'm going to read between the lines here and say Reti wasn't able to do as much as fast as what National wanted done, which is cut. So there are more cuts coming and at a faster rate of knots.
I had a theory over the weekend, bro, and I put it out on Twitter, and it's actually, Not many people like my theory, because my theory implied that maybe Reti had some kind of moral compass. But I wonder if he finally got to a point through all these decisions that they were making, if he couldn't do it anymore. His Hippocratic Oath was literally being crushed every single decision they made, bringing back smoking. You know, that kind of. I wonder if he got to a point where he had enough, and he actually said, "I'm out. I can't do this anymore." Now, that is being pretty generous to him, and most people on my Twitter feed,
I don't see it.
after they called me a woke fat prick, then said, "Nah, not good. Nah, don't give him that much. Don't give him that much."
Yep.
So-
I can't see it. There is one bright spot with Simeon Brown coming into health.
He takes up less space.
Aisha Verrill from Labor
Is taller than him.
It's gonna eat his lunch every fucking day.
Yeah.
Now I talk about, you know, I talk about his experience and the times that people bring up, oh, these guys are career politicians that never worked a real job. Go to Wikipedia now, open up Simeon Brown's page, look at his experience. Like a lot of politicians, a lot of student politics, a lot of regional politics, that sort of thing, ends up working for the party or someone that's in the party. That's his foot in the door. Then open up Aisha Verrill's career.
Yeah.
This is someone that had no problem standing up to the then Labor government and going, "You are fucking up some of our COVID response." So they put her in charge of it. She has an extensive medical career. She has taught medicine. She 100% belongs in that portfolio. And she is going to eat Simeon alive.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's actually, the story's got a couple of minutes to go. Let's actually get through it and then we'll sign off, I think.
Christopher Luxon says he simply needs faster results. So zooming on in is the former transport.
So, hatchet man. I want someone with fewer morals to make harsher cuts, i.e. move faster.
Minister.
What we need is the skills that Simeon Brown brings, which is delivery and execution.
Being a bank teller.
And I want him to bring that into our healthcare system.
But I also just went on a road trip in the South Island myself and saw plenty of hot potholes. New Zealanders will judge him by the operational delivery that he achieves in the health system.
Labor's disapproval doesn't end there.
It's very hard to know what to make of Mark Mitchell as Minister for Ethnic Communities, but I guess we'll see.
Stripped from her role as Broadcasting Minister in April last year, Minister Lee has now been sacked completely. It makes way for popular first-term MP James Meagher as the newly created Minister for the South Island.
A lot of Prime Ministers, you know, might keep more of a watching brief on people that they thought were underperforming, give them a bit more rope. Luxon obviously sees, that he wants to get on with the job.
The economy also high on the agenda. Finance Minister Nicola Willis has had economic growth added to her portfolios, a renamed economic development.
I now have a mandate to lead a group of ministers across government with a singular focus. How do we grow the economy faster?
Look, the polling for the government has not been terrific, and that's been a result of the economy.
True.
And look, they ran on cost of living, they ran on fixing the economy, so even if it's not the government's fault, it's their problem.
So, an out with the old and in with the new for National.
With that, good way to start the year. Thanks, team.
Its refreshed lineup now in place.
Good way to start the year, apparently, Chewie. Not a complete balls up with people from MAGA New Zealand saying what all sorts of memes out there about shuffling the cards of decks and moving the deck chairs on the Titanic, and they're all coming from people on the far right.
What an absolute shallow end of the pool talent selection they've got to call on, though.
Yep.
Like that is grim. I think there is another bright spot. Simeon Brown has said something that obviously there's shake-ups coming to the Health NZ executive. Maybe he's going to get rid of Levy. That might be a good thing if he does. Who knows? The proof is going to be in the pudding. But there is no way that Simeon Brown brings anything to the table apart from partisan sniping. He has no experience in that industry. He hasn't been anywhere near a health portfolio ever. You're looking like our health sector is under the pump. Like every nurse we've got could get on a plane tomorrow, go to Australia and earn double. Like I got an email today from my GPs because they're having to increase prices. Now my GP is still in one of the less wealthy areas of Dunedin, just because all the other GPs in the town, like including the ones closer to me, they're not taking on more patients because they haven't got the funding. So I got an email that said, like many medical practices across New Zealand, we are feeling the strain of insufficient government funding. Without appropriate funding and a shortage of trained GPs, many practices across the country have had to shut their doors. Unfortunately, the Dunedin South Medical Centre has also felt these pressures. While we have fought hard to source funding from the government, we have been told to make up the shortfall by raising our fees. While this is not something that we want to do and feel this is unfair, we now have no choice. Now, that's pretty blunt of where the blame lies. And the catchment that medical centre serves, elderly, poor, immigrants and refugees. So that's where the government wants more funding to come from, those communities. This is what Simeon Brown is going to come into. Do you think he's going to magic up some more money for the South Dunedin Medical Centre?
Doubtful.
No.
He might fix the pothole out the front of their shop, though, maybe, if they're lucky.
You know, why would he do that? Do you think there's supposedly an announcement coming for the Dunedin Hospital in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah.
There's not a single person that I've spoken to that has any hope that is good news.
There's a bit of a culture here in Dunedin of food trucks. I wonder if they're going to do that with a hospital. Like a hospital truck or something.
A hospital truck. A drive-by heart transplant.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to power through a couple of stories. I'm going to leave you with a good news story. But since we're talking about the Dunedin Hospital, I've lost the story. I've lost the page. But anyway, you'll all remember last year there was a massive and very, very quickly put together protest here in Dunedin that put 40,000 people on the streets.
Yep.
Phenomenal photos. It spoke greatly of community momentum to really let the government know what was going on. Our council had another go on Friday last week with a vehicle-based protest, and it was sad. Vehicle-based protests are not the way to go. I went because I wanted to see. But I think when we talk about politicians, you know, our current mayor is not a community organizer. He doesn't know how to do a protest. So getting a whole bunch of heritage buses and a couple of classic cars and some scooters and trying to do a vehicle convoy across town without any traffic management. So we all just dribbled into the center of town with a lot of people just confused about why is there an old empty bus and 3 cars tooting the horn every now and then. Like, we need here in the South to stand together, like all of the towns that are going to be affected by the Dunedin Hospital not being built. Like, this is generational. Like, my view towards the mayor of Dunedin is that he needs to do more, and he needs to do it fucking rapidly, because the window of us getting the hospital that needs to be built is slipping through our fingers by the week.
Yeah, 100.
So yeah, the people of Queenstown, the people of Invercargill, of Oamaru, even Timaru in some cases, all need to stand with the bottom half of the South Island and just really cause some ruckus to get this fucking thing built, because the narrative is it's Dunedin's hospital, not the South Island hospital.
Well, and as we've said, hang on, just pause on that though. It's not even that. We've pointed this out before and we'll point it out again. Dunedin is one of 2 places that doctors get fucking trained. Where do those doctors get trained in Dunedin for practicums? They go to Dunedin Hospital. So this is actually going to be delivering doctors to the whole country. This is not about Dunedin or the South Island. This benefits the whole country. That graduate that comes out of Dunedin might end up in Northland, might end up in Taranaki, might end up in Wellington. And if they haven't got a place where they can learn how to do things well, properly, and as you should be doing them in 2025, then that impacts the whole country. So let's just get away from all of those chats about, oh, Dunedin can't do this because they're only got 130,000 people. It's not about that. This actually is a resource for everyone in New Zealand. Hopefully you'll never need it, but that doctor that might save your fucking life in 15 years' time may have gone through Dunedin Hospital, the rebuild, and be up to date with all the latest stuff, or they might go through basically the MASH tent that we've got right now and figure out how to get the shrapnel out, but that's about it. Sorry. My first foo-foo for the year.
100%.